Today I have 3 recommendations for you from the Criterion Collection from the 2000s. A great time to grow up. Some really good movies from that decade, starting with one I recently watched, and I absolutely fell in love with it. This is called You Can Count on Me. It sounds like a silly little sappy, overly dramatic film. It's not. This was directed by Kenneth Lonergan, who you probably recognize from Manchester by the Sea. Itself a great film. This isn't as crushing and soul-crushing as that, though. So Laura Linney stars as this single mother. You find out early on like, sort of what's going on with the father and why she's by herself, but her brother, played by Mark Ruffalo, really good in that role, he's kind of a drifter, and he's come back into town, and they're going to try to live together for a little while, even though she's highly structured and he is not. Okay, as someone who is somewhere in the middle of those two things, I enjoyed watching each side of that coin play out. And it causes some of the tension in that family. They really do care about each other, but it's so fun watching them have those little sibling battles. I could see Ozu having taken on something like this if he were a modern day director. Just really brilliant. And the son, played by Rory Culkin, I love the performance from him. He's such a likable kid. And this is kind of difficult material, I think, for a child actor to play, being somewhat adrift in this family. And in this situation, she works at a bank, and she has a new boss she has to deal with, played by Matthew Broderick, and I love that character. That character went a few different places I didn't expect. I mean, he's trying to be a good boss in a sense, so he gets a little bit on the domineering side, but he's never quite rude about it. And I think that's an interesting line that the film walks. It's tender. The dialogue in this film is absolutely superb, and the pauses from characters, the inflection, the way that certain lines are delivered is so authentic and genuine, and it's just a really likable movie. The film also has kind of an intelligent way it goes about exploring faith, because Laura Linney's character does go to church. She's a Methodist. The pastor or someone from the church interacts a little bit with Ruffalo's character, but we don't get the sense that the religion is sort of a sanctimonious or didactic thing going on here. It's genuinely like just, I think, for her and for the film, just part of her sense of structure in life. And that's interesting to me. And for him, he just rejects all of it. And some of those conversations are kind of insightful, and it really surprised me that the film had that kind of nuance when discussing faith and belief systems and so forth. This kind of thing has been done before, and you've probably seen other films like it, but I just really loved this one in particular. And it's a darn entertaining film, and it's got some moments that are what's the right word? Kind of shocking, kind of surprising, sort of fun. The second film, a film that I actually don't think is entirely different. A film about picking up the pieces and making something out of them, which you'll see is a big part of You Can Count on Me. But this film is a late film from Agnes Varda called The Gleaners and I from 2000. The Gleaners and I. A late career, great film, great documentary. And of all the things, I remember watching this, and my wife and I were like, how can this possibly be interesting? Because the Gleaners, a lot of the film, or at least at first, you see these people go out in these fields after this sort of major farming has taken place. I'm simplifying here, but the major farming's taken place, and they're going through and picking up leftover potatoes, like a lot of them, and you're seeing the value in sort of almost like a thrift. You know, it's like going to a thrift store and finding something really cool, which we do. We actually just got a moose from the Great Smoky Mountains. Really pretty. We put a bow on it for Christmas. But anyway, yeah, like for people that like thrift stores and like that sort of second chance at things, it's just fascinating to watch the stuff that people will find value in. I mean, there's a guy that does some stuff with dolls, like there's stuff about film and photography in here. Roger Ebert, that was actually who I learned about this film from. So I'm going to read you a little bit about how he describes it, because he really enjoyed the film. So he said, "Gleaners traditionally follow the harvest, scavenging what was missed the first time around." As I said. In her meditative film, we see them in potato fields, apple orchards. Pause. There's a scene where a chef goes to like get some grapes and stuff off the ground, and he was talking about how he loves that and it like improves his cooking and he knows where it's from. Great scene. Anyway, resuming my Ebert quote. where the farmers actually welcome them. Tons of apples are missed by the first pickers because the professionals work fast and are not patient in seeking the hidden fruit. Then we meet urban gleaners, including an artist who finds objects he can make into sculpture, and a man who has not paid for his food for more than 10 years. And she, of course, is a gleaner herself, the director. She is gleaning the gleaners. And in what appears to be a documentary, she conceals a tender meditation about her own life and life itself, and that's what I love. I love my films to feel authentic and to be drawn from human experience, and any time a film has that kind of Rocky energy. What I mean by Rocky, you know how Rocky's real scrapey, Stallone's real scrapey, just kind of finding any little advantage he can, you know? I love that stuff. And I think the best films are made that way. I love a scrappy film. And I think this film is definitely really well made, but I think this film celebrates what it means to improvise and to look where other people may not be looking. I wouldn't be surprised if this film made you just immediately want to go to a thrift store and find something cool. I go thrifting all the time. I make videos about it because I'll find DVDs no one wants anymore, right? By the way, another reason this film's cool is a lot of you do like I do, and you just pull out like old DVDs and things people have forgotten about. You watch them. Watch this, The Gleaners and I. I think as a film fan, you're going to appreciate the spirit. But I have never talked on my channel about No Country for Old Men. And that's a shame, because that fits this list perfectly. We've been a little bit too optimistic so far. Let's talk about a dark descent into a chaotic hell and abyss. That is No Country for Old Men. I used to teach part of the text when I did this like Western unit, and I would teach parts of Shane and parts of country ballads. It was really fun. But the film, this is one of those novels. This is one that I think naturally does well on screen. I don't know that like Blood Meridian would, but the plot. So it's a deadly game of chance, cat mouse, and we're in Texas in a Coen Brothers adaptation, of course, of Cormac McCarthy. And this guy, played by Josh Brolin, Llewellyn, he runs across a bunch of money. There's a drug deal, something has happened. And then he ends up in this drama, this chase, involving some combination of Tommy Lee Jones playing an old sheriff, and really good in that role, really natural for a role like that, and probably the defining bad guy of that era that wasn't Daniel Plainview, Javier Bardem as Anton Chigurh. What a creepy, terrifying, original, fun villain. There's the famous coin scene where he's got Bardem goes in. He just goes in this gas station or store. I can't remember which, and he flips a coin to decide if this guy lives or not. But it's so convincing. Like if I described it to you, it wouldn't. It really wouldn't necessarily. I don't know how that actor pulled that much out of that character. I mean, he completely lost it. Like he's just gone. And I was watching some of the scenes again. Like there's one scene that he's in with Woody Harrelson that just blows my mind. The acting on it. This is like, okay, if nothing else, see the film for that terrific performance, even if you don't love the rest of the film, because this actually is not one of my favorite like sort of neo-westerns. My favorite of those is Hell or High Water. I love that film. I have a nice steelbook of it. But it's a really intriguing, dark, disturbing. They called it darkly deadpan Borderlands noir, and I think that's a good way of putting it. Tension, existential unease. Yeah, all of that. It is one of the strong Coen Brothers films. I think my favorite of those is probably Fargo. Tell me in the comments there what your favorite of the Coen Brothers is. There are definitely some good choices, and I love that the Criterion Collection has embraced that brand, because very popular films. But these are some of the ones that I've been thinking about lately from the 2000s that I wanted to share with you in this little video today. If you want to do me a favor and click the thumbs up like button, I'd appreciate it. Share your favorites in the comments. Tell me, what are your favorites from the 2000s? I need ideas, even if they're not from the Criterion Collection. Always love hearing more. And we'll see you next time on Cody in the Cinema.